Let's do that first, I suppose. Right, where's that now? Let's go live on Facebook. I'd like this to go into a group.
If I was smart about it today.
Hi, Helen.
Good evening, Mr. Huntley.
You right?
Yeah, good, thanks. How are you?
Not bad, thank you. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you fine.
Super.
And I remembered tonight. I normally get to about 9 o'clock on a Thursday night and think, oh, damn, I forgot to join Rob's session.
No problem. Right, let's see if we can get this up and running.
It's getting into new habits of new times for things.
Yes. I think this is going to go live. Let's have a look on Facebook. And
It says you're on live.
oh, does it? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, there we go. I see it all now. Grand. Right, so, woohoo, there's 3 of us. Don as well. I know it's only 1 minute past, half past, so I'll give everyone a bit of time. I was going to be a bit silly, just start the session like that. But it didn't quite pan out that way. And I'll also queued this up as well. What a lot of fun. Just because I put in the Discord channel about what's new, Pussycat, well, let's take a look. But, you know, just a bit of fun to start us off.
Absolutely.
Right. I don't know if there's many others joining us. Let's see. Oh, here's Ian and Morel. We're bouncing up to 5 people now.
Hi, Rob.
Hello, hello.
You okay?
I'm very not bad, thank you. How are you?
Very not bad. Yes, I am good. I'm just going to dash upstairs, make sure the kids are settled, and I'll be back.
Okay, no problem at all. See you in a bit.
See you in a bit.
Okay, so let's kind of get started, and I'll say kind of. Go through the basics first and all that sort of thing. So let's share screen. I've got to make sure I'm sharing the right one. Cool. Okay, so I assume you can see my Forex factory. Well, let's hope so. Yeah.
Can do.
Chat. Evening, Ian. Welcome to the session. Okay, so Forex Factory, what have we got left? It's now 7:30 UK time. We've got, according to this, some Japanese news, low impact, and some at 8:30 as well. That looks like that's it for the rest of the day. Let's have a look at my FX book. What have we got going on here? New Zealand later, but they don't have they don't have the Japanese news listed, so obviously it's not that much of an impact. I find obviously my FX book tends to list things as high, whereas Forex Factory might have it as medium. But yeah, anyway, there's not really much to worry about right now. But also looking, if we're looking to maybe leave anything running for New Zealand New Zealand dollar overnight, then obviously there's some high impact news at 10:45. So anyway, let's have a look at the scanner and see what we've got. In fact, actually, before we look at the scanner, I just want to have a quick look over pound Australian dollar because this is a bit of a funny one. It's on here on the 4 hour as a butterfly pattern. I think it's also on the hour as a bat pattern. And then I think it was also, it certainly was earlier today. I don't know if it still is now. Right down there is a Gartley, but that may have, oh, I'll just click on something else and click back on that, see if it, okay, that looks a bit weird. So yeah, it's on at different time frames with different patterns. So it's on there as a bat pattern. So the D is at the top on the hour time frame, but obviously prices. This is, when was that from? Oh, I haven't changed my time. That was from 21st of October. So a couple was yesterday. But the 4 hour, if we look at that pair there, we see the D point has still held firm. That's from the 20th of October. But you see prices come down from the D point, but then has pushed up further and started to move down again. So it hasn't actually broken structure of this area on the 4 hour time frame, but we can see that looks like a left shoulder head, and so we could more than likely see price coming down to around this sort of level again. So I've got that actually on. I've got this on the 15-minute at the moment, and yes, wonderful lines all over the place. But I just want to talk you through what's going on here and what I'm looking at and why there's so many lines. So if I start by zooming out a bit, in fact, I'll go on to the hour first. Let's start at the hour, that'd be easier. So I've got this parallel channel, which I can't remember when I set it up, but a while back. So that's, as you can see, an upward general overall trend for that on the hour time frame. But jumping back to the 15-minute and resetting the chart, what we're looking at here, we've seen prices hit certain levels, and hopefully that's made obvious by where I've drawn the lines here. We've got this line here where prices bounced up and down. Within that, I think I did a video earlier today, but that was around 35, yeah, so 35 pips. So that whole depth there between that long line across the middle there and this one here is 35 pips. And that's obviously a period of consolidation, but I was able to scalp 160 pips from that bouncing up and down within that channel. I know a lot of people say, don't trade consolidation, but actually for me yesterday that turned out to be quite profitable. And then obviously prices pushed up. I think it was around yesterday afternoon at some point, we go about 3 o'clock, 3:30. There was a sudden big spike up, and then price came down again into this lower area and then pushed up and then stayed up there, and as you can see, it sort of bounced around within that area. Then price pushed up again overnight, so that was, we're looking at about 1-2 o'clock in the morning UK time. It's hit its peak and has started coming down. Now, What I was thinking was we may see price come down to these levels and sort of test them, maybe push up a bit and then come down. And I guess we had some sort of push up here, but it actually just sort of really kept coming down. And I suppose I was a little bit frustrated with myself because I didn't really trade this today. I've only placed 3 trades all day today on this pair. And one that I closed at a very small loss of 2 pips, and another couple that I think wrapped up 16, maybe I can't remember 50. I think I got 13 or 14 pips in the end total. That was it. I hardly looked at the chart, hardly really got involved in it. So I just wasn't feeling it. I was also looking at, the stochastic is right down the bottom here, certainly on the 15-minute time frame, and I was sort of expecting price to push up, and it had this sort of, you see on the stochastic down here, it pushed up a bit, and that was that area there, but then it's just stayed in the lower half, and as you can see now, it's kind of crawling along or snaking along in the extreme on the 15-minute. But on the hour as well, as you can see, that's right down at the bottom there. The 4-hour has been up at the top, and that was right at the peak of the of price movement overnight, and has generally been on a downward move. But if we look at the daily, the stochastic is right up in the extreme still on the daily, and in fact, I think we might just be getting the red crossing the blue there. So I think on the scan itself, jump back to the 15-minute. Sorry, wait for that to get away. This scan from C to D is nearly 500 pips. That's 493 pips. But obviously, price had moved up. So actually, where price was at the peak, that was 560 pips. However, obviously, what we're doing, say on the 4-hour here, it looks to me to be quite evident that that's a left shoulder ahead, and we're coming down the right hand side of the head now. So we may see price hit a level down here at around 1.83230, and then push up again to form the right shoulder up to that sort of level, maybe up to the D again. I'm not entirely sure. But it doesn't always come all the way down. It doesn't always go all the way up to form the right shoulder. It might just sort of start and then down. So we're looking for maybe that sort of movement. So where we're at the moment, we're at 83837. So 1.83837, and I've got this block marked off here because we've got a wick. In fact, let's just zoom in a bit on there so you can see that. We've got a wick up here. In fact, I may have missed that a little bit there. There's a wick down, but in between is just one solid green block. There's no sort of selling going on there. So where I've got that marked off, and yes, it might not be 100% accurate. We've got price coming to that box. It's sort of dipped into it there, and is now sort of not really sure what it wants to do. I'm confident we're going to get some sort of push up, but we have got news. 11 o'clock for the Australian dollar, and then I think at midnight for the pound, 1 minute past. So there may be activity overnight, depends, it's up to you guys. But I think we've still got room for that to come down to here, and I also think that let's say 1.83, I can't remember what I said now, around that sort of level, wasn't it? So 1.83230, 1.83230. So that is down. That's down to here. That's down at this sort of area. But what I have done, you know, as I said already, got lines all over the place. But these lines are key levels that have been hit. If I go a little bit further back, they're back here. I think one of these other lines matches up with these 2 points here as well. So you could see that, in fact, that stops a bit short there, but price has come down to that, sort of tested that area, broken through, pushed up, tested it, and then we're all the way back over here on the 15-minute, all the way back to that level there, which has obviously been key again. There, and here as well. So where we're at now. Sorry, was that a question? Yes.
Yeah, it's morale. If you quickly flick back to the scanner on GB, oh, I can't even say it, GBPAUD, and whack on the pivot, the pitchfork. Is it now coming into the top of the pitchfork? Because I like to trade it when it comes back in, if that makes sense. It's just on the top, or it has come in. Okay, it has.
Yeah,
broken.
and that's
Okay.
not wholly accurately on the point and everything, but yes, it is certainly. I mean, if I move that across a little bit, it's still going to be well within the pitchfork.
Yeah, because I was looking at this pair yesterday, and I decided not to get in, only because I like it to come back into the pitchfork area. But yeah, you did well on that yesterday.
Yeah, well, I think it was Friday I started trading it. Didn't trade Monday, and then Tuesday and Wednesday, just basically this pair alone, pound Australian dollar. That's all I've done. But then today, I don't know why, I just did not feel comfortable. I just didn't feel the
Lost your mojo.
Yeah, well, I lost my mojo, and I think I put myself under pressure because I thought, blimey, I've actually done 2 solid days of 100% wins.
Yeah.
And I knew, and I'd even written it, written it down. It's inevitable. I'm going to have a loss soon, and I had a loss today. But thankfully, it was not a major loss. It was only 2 pips. But yeah, no, I know. You know, might as well call it break even. But that one loss affected my 100% win rate to bring it down to 96%, which was very disappointing. But
can I get tissue, Rob?
But you know, it is amazing just sticking to the one pair and picking out the levels. But I just wasn't expecting price to move the way it has done on this. I was expecting it to come down, but I was expecting maybe a bit more of a sort of a bounce around, I suppose, rather than just almost a solid. Certainly looking at the scanner on that, that's just red.
Because that always throws me as well, because I like to use the levels on the pitchfork, and I like it when it gets to the line and it starts retracing and bouncing off, because that's what you expect it to do. But when it shoots through, it then throws me, and then I'm like, okay, I don't know what to do now, because I almost feel like it's a little bit erratic, and if I get in, it will then go the other way. But it does throw me a little bit.
Yes, but you're absolutely right. If it does throw you a bit, then and if you're not feeling completely comfortable and confident with it, as I wasn't with this today, and I actually traded today because I sort of felt that I had to, especially with doing this 100 trades journal. I thought I've got to put something on, and I wasn't actually comfortable doing it at the time, but it was the only point where I felt, okay, I could get something from that bit. And I think that was actually just around this section here. So yeah, not a big area at all. But even though
it's good to hear that you go through those emotions as well.
Yes, yeah, and I'm sure, unless you're a complete weirdo, I'm sure everyone does. I would hope so, because you know this sort of thing. Yes, we talked about embracing the loss and you know, being on top of what you're doing when you're looking at charts and all that sort of thing. But there are times where actually, do you know what? I'm just not quite feeling it. So there's no point risking any of your hard-earned cash if you're not in the right headspace.
Exactly. David Kahn says that a lot. You know, just take a day off.
Yeah.
It'll do you the world of good, even maybe 2 or 3 days, and then come back.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And actually, I mean, not that the last couple of days were stressful for me at all, but it was just a case of, I think I was probably just focused on doing these trades, getting the numbers up from 100 trades. But actually, I just need to do it for myself, not to, not for an ego thing or anything like that. Just literally just try and capture as many pips as I can, but in a sensible and controlled way.
Yeah, exactly. If you start feeling pressured, then you need to walk away. And
Well, that was the thing. I saw a message from someone today saying, "Oh, when are you going to send your update for the 100 trades?" And I thought, no pressure then. But
yeah.
but you know, it is. Yeah, I've just decided to really write today off and just have the I think it's just the 3 trades I placed today, and that was it. And I've explained my reasons why. So it's all good. But anyway, let's have a look at some of the other pairs rather than just spending ages on this one. Let's see what other opportunities we've got. And in fact, I should have probably even looked at some of the other pairs during the day today, because I guess I've been focused on the pound Australian dollar. I still think it's got a lot to give, but actually there's probably a lot of other opportunities out there as well.
Yeah, I've been in and out of GCAD, GU, and EU.
Oh, okay.
I've still got a couple running. I've taken some profit. I've got a couple running. I've now got the dilemma of, do I close before I go to bed? Do I leave it running? No, I'm not a fan of leaving them overnight, but
yeah, I'm not a fan of. I try not to do it now, and I know I'm leaving money on the table, but actually, I'd rather sleep properly than
exactly.
Yeah,
I need my sleep with 2 kids.
Because I know there are loads of people who leave trades running overnight, but for me personally, even if the trade's going my way, subconsciously somehow will just keep going, "Ooh, I wonder how that trade's going," and I'll want to wake up and check my phone, and actually that's not really what I want to do.
No, it's like sleeping with one eye open, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's not good. So you were in pound CAD, pound US, and euro US.
Yeah. So I got profit on all 3, and
Yeah.
I've still got them running, but I might close them in the next hour or 2. I'm not sure yet.
Yeah, we'll certainly see how. I mean, price movement's going to slow down probably now anyway. But you know, if you're happy with what you've made so far, I don't know necessarily that you'll make a whole heap more. You know, this time of night. Obviously, I understand that trades are still running elsewhere in the world, but you know, volume wise, you might not get as much happening. So yeah, probably best to, and certainly get them closed before 10 o'clock so you don't miss out on any you know, when the session change over and you get the spreads go a bit wacky.
Yeah, exactly. There's still a lot of pips in those scans, I believe.
Sorry, say that again.
There's still a lot of pips in those scans, I believe.
Oh yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah,
I would certainly say so. And I mean, the thing at the moment is I think the US dollar has lost some strength, but you know, what's odd is, even though the US dollar sort of maybe lost some strength, that it's not showing that on the pound US and the euro.
no, it's not, is it?
In fact, odd CAD was one that I was looking at earlier as well. Sorry, I've just seen there's some comments on Facebook as well. Cola, good old cola, taking 96% any day. What's your cola? Yeah, I'm just.
Rob.
Hello.
Hi, it's Adrian, mate.
Hello, Adrian.
How you doing?
All right, you?
Yeah, I'm good, man. You just touched on a point. I wrote it down to ask on a live call about the longer term trades. Because
Yeah.
when we're looking at an hour scan and we're trying to get down to the median, it can take 1.5, 2 days, maybe even more. And I've experienced the Asian spreads on scalping, which are not very nice.
Yeah.
So, how do you kind of combat that? Are you guys actually doing the longer term to the median, or are you just trying to get in and out in the day?
Personally, the way I deal with them is I will either. I'm more of a scalper. I prefer getting in and out of trades fairly quickly, and that's just my style, my personality. I have certainly attempted and occasionally will get in a long term trade. You know, if we're getting in at the D and just letting it run to see what happens. But as we've just talked about, for me personally, I don't sleep well if the stuff is still running overnight. So I personally don't look for the long term trades on a regular basis. But for those of you that do, and I know obviously with you know, a lot of people who are working and don't have time to sort of nip in and out of trades all day, the longer term trades are going to be maybe better for you, and you can sort of get in at the D point. You can wait for the ninja down alert, or depending if the D's at the bottom, ninja up alert. And once you get to a point in the evening, you can certainly close those out and then reassess again the next day. But
I'm guessing, Rob, on the longer term time frame, the trades, not time frame, sorry. On the longer term trades, you would use a smaller lot size and then just kind of let it ride a little bit.
Yes, yeah, definitely. Yeah, certainly for the longer term stuff, don't be going silly with the lot sizes, because if it does go against you for whatever reason, obviously that's going to have a much greater impact on your trading account. So we'll say certainly for me, just by capturing the pips in a channel like that, over the last 3 days, I've now captured 308 pips, I think it is, from just this one pair.
That's incredible, mate. Well done.
Thank you. And I'm not saying that to boast and to brag, because that's not my thing at all. But it's just a case of capturing the sort of long-term pip sort of count, but actually just getting in and out on these small movements. I say small, it's 30 odd pips. But actually, that was the other thing I haven't said about this particular range, that these levels happen to be about 35 pips apart. I think it's just this top one here, which is about 40 pips. But these two lines are about 35 pips apart. These two are about 35. These two are about 35, and that box is about 35. So, you're not looking at a huge pip range to still be able to capture plenty of pips. So yeah, stick with, if you're going to go for the long-term trades, as in getting in as near to the D point as you possibly can, and then letting it ride. Yeah, just go with a low lot size, because and even if you're using the exit manager as well, and that's got the trailing stop on it for you, sometimes that can, if you haven't hit your level of where you want it to take profit and for it all to kick in for you, you can get a price movement that will take you out of that trade anyway. So just make sure that you're going to be using a sensible lot size with sensible risk management on those trades. and I know we've been talking about, you know, if you're going for 1% of your trading account, that's not going to be a huge amount, but just be sensible with your lot size.
Yeah, thanks, mate. I mean, I'm more like you, get in, get out. I've basically been trying to use the spreadsheet for the 30% a week.
Yeah.
Which obviously gives you the lot size anyway.
Yeah.
But obviously that's not 1%, which is what obviously, you know, on the call, on all the live calls, everybody's risking 1%, but obviously that's not going to give you 30% growth. So,
no, that's the thing. We can give you guidance and sort of sensible approaches to all of this. At the end of the day, it is your decision how you want to trade and how you know what you're comfortable with doing. You know, I know that I've got into trades that I've maybe not got the best entry point, but overall I'm still confident that the price is going to go in the direction that I think it is, and I've ended up sort of, you know, quite a few pips in drawdown, getting to a point, not necessarily getting to a point where it's being margin called or anything like that, but it's got to a point where I think, oh, you know, how much am I actually going to be happy to close this at a loss at? And that is down to each individual. So yeah, you know, if you're trading with a £100 account and you're willing to let that go down to a £10 negative on a particular trade, then obviously that's 10% of your account gone in one go, and it just makes it so much harder to start clawing that back again. It's going to take you quite a while to claw that back again.
yeah, I think I'm trying to balance because obviously I did really well those first 2 weeks on my demo account.
Yeah.
Monday I overtraded and you know, it went down, and now I've clawed it back a little bit. So I'm trying to balance the sort of short-term high lot size gains against the longer-term trades with a smaller lot size to get more consistency, if you know what I mean.
Yes, yeah, of course. Well, yeah, certainly. I mean, even if you put the lowest lot size of 0.01 on a long-term trade, that can still, you know, over time, if it continues running in the direction that we're sort of suggesting with the pitchfork and everything, that can still deliver a fairly decent result. Okay, it's not going to be hundreds of pounds, but it could certainly be, you know, an amount that you go, actually, that wasn't bad. If you get me.
No, I get you, mate. I just thought I'd ask you the question because it's just one of those things. I'm trying to just balance everything out. I have a goal per day, which I'd ideally like to hit.
Yeah.
If I hit it straight off with the 30% approach with 20 pips, then great. But often the last last week and a half, I've ended up with the first couple of trades being a loss. So I'm not then chasing pips, which I don't want to do.
Yeah, and you're absolutely spot on there saying you don't want to do that, because having been there myself, you know, I think I can't remember when it was, last year, the year before, I got into a bit of a silly situation because, you know, like the last couple of days where I've had a really fantastic run, I got to a level where I was thinking, well, you know, I'm invincible, I can do everything. I started second guessing the market, and letting things run longer than I should have done. And I let it all get, you know, got the emotions and all that sort of thing. And then I went on the revenge trading blitz and just made things worse. So actually, and I know we have talked about this on a previous session, that actually when your account is going into when your trade is going into negative, sometimes it's just best to close those out at a loss and just reassess where you're at, reassess the trade, reassess the chart, maybe zoom out to the higher time frames just to see that you've got everything correct in your head with regards to the analysis. Because yes, of course, we could be in a position where we're going to set the pitchfork and put it on the X, the C, and the D, and say, right, okay, this is going to go my way and it's absolutely going to be fine. But we've seen, excuse me, certainly with the pound Australian dollar, that the D point stayed in place and price kept going up. And if you're following the way that we normally conduct everything on the scans with the pitchforks and everything, you're just setting a sort of fairly conservative stop loss and just take the hit and then reassess everything. And I know Kevin did a great session about if the D point stops and then you get price moving up further, that you'll just look at it again and just where you've done your analysis, just check everything over again and maybe move it along so that where the D is normally the head, so you have your left shoulder ahead, and then price coming down to then form a right shoulder. If that has started pushing up again, then obviously this is then becoming the left shoulder and your head is a bit further up. So you've just got to take the hit on the loss. Don't go chasing another trade. Maybe take a break from trading for a bit and then go, right, okay, I'm feeling ready to go and smash the markets again.
Yeah, no, thanks, Rob. I mean, that's pretty much what I've been thinking. I'm obviously just trading on the demo at the moment, but hopefully going to go live in the next couple of weeks. But just kind of like trying to put everything together. I think the Ninja trading system in itself is great. Today I was looking at the fire starter and a couple of other things to kind of mash it all together. And I think obviously you guys have got that experience to not just do the Ninja trading system, like you say, your trading channels and stuff like that. So I think it's just a time thing, really.
Yeah. Well, I hope that helped, and I hope that I feel we haven't really looked at a lot of charts. We've just been talking process and emotion and psychology, which is all still valid parts of trading. So yeah, I hope it helps.
No, it does, mate. Thank you very much.
No problem. Okay, so what we talked about? Sorry, we haven't actually talked about pound Canadian dollar. Morel was saying she was in pound Canadian dollar, pound US dollar, and euro US dollar. So with this, certainly with the pound Canadian dollar, obviously we've had the D form quite nicely at the top there. And looking at where the X and the C and the D are, I'll say, yeah, it's a fairly sort of shallow downward move. But as we've pointed out before, I know I've not thrown the pitchfork on 100% accurately, but we could see as prices come down and hit that Fibonacci there, the 0.5 on that particular pitchfork, it's sort of tested that, pushed up and then come down. I mean, if we were to put on, what else we got on here? The 0.75, 0.25, the 382, the 618. Just out of curiosity to see where we see prices pushed up to test the 0.75 there. And again, whilst I was talking about horizontal channels on the pound Australian dollar, and Morel sort of said it now about when the lines, the Fibonacci's are hit by the price movement, you can see actually you're getting quite a clear run of where prices is bouncing from and where you could possibly see it going to. And obviously the overall aim is going to be the central median line on this. But along the way, in fact, we just zoom in on that bit there for a moment. Along the way, we've had price come down. It's sort of hit that level there. It's had a bit of a push up, but didn't really do anything amazing. pushed up again there. It's gone up and hit that Fibonacci. I know, as I've just said, I haven't put it on 100% accurately, but we can now see at this line here that price is just dancing around in between these two Fibonacci's here. So they're there for a reason, and they work. It's as simple as that. So they're just channels at an angle, really. So yeah, we've still got room for price to come down to the median on that one. Pound US dollar. So the D point has stayed put, but price had pushed up and gone through the suggested stop loss on the scan on that. No, let's just double check that. Yeah. Sorry, Mel, you did say you were in pound US dollar, didn't you?
Yeah, I've just closed it at 15 pips.
15, okay. So you got in after it got back into the pitchfork area?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I did.
Okay, so yeah, so where that's at now is right at the top band there. So still, how many pips have we got? Have we got there down to median? There's still, yeah, still a decent number of pips to go on that. Right, let's have a quick look at that on here. I've got that on pound US dollar.
Yeah, I closed it and I thought I'll have a look at it in the morning and maybe get in again, see what happens.
Exactly, yeah, that's certainly how I would play it.
I think also with GBP as well, because it's just so volatile at the moment, anything could happen. You could wake up at 7 o'clock and then 8 o'clock there's a spike from, Bojo saying something or goodness knows what.
Yeah.
And it'll knock you out, whereas I think it's better to come out and then come in. But just, I think the hardest thing is just being patient, isn't it? And entering at the right point. You don't have, like this morning on Paul's call, we looked at, I think it was GCAD, might have been GU and EU. There's a couple, but
Yeah.
I couldn't enter. Because I was busy with the kids. I couldn't enter when I wanted to, so I had to sit patiently, and then I came in a little bit later on. But it's worth it, because otherwise you just have all the drawdown, don't you? And you just think, oh, why did I do that?
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, especially on that pair there, if you got in soon after the D and then price pushed up, how many pips was that up to the top there? Well, right at the top of the peak of that, there's around 62 pips from the D up to there. So yeah, no, it's sensible to make sure you get the well, even if that had happened and your D had stayed put, you could still look for your, overall that price is due to be coming down. You just pop your indicator on, chuck on high classic candles, and so you would have got a ninja down. What sort of time is that? That was 8:30 yesterday. Okay, so you could still just look for the ninja down and scalp some pips that way. I mean, looking at those there, you would have had some. Okay, we're not going to be trading that time of the day necessarily, but let's look at this morning. 9:45. That was a fairly decent move down there. Even if you got in halfway down that, that's 40 pips just for that one move there. So
Yeah, it's funny. This week I've not felt comfortable with scalping. I've been doing more of the long term. I don't really know why. I think maybe because the markets have been a bit funny. I don't know.
Do you know, I've seen a number of people commenting about markets reacting strangely, but obviously, certainly with the pound at the moment and lockdowns being thrown up left, right, and centre. That's potentially going to have an impact again on how the markets are reacting and how.
Definitely. I just feel more comfortable now at the moment using the I keep saying I want to say pivot. It's not pivot. Pitchfork.
Yeah.
And the ninja up, or obviously ninja down, and the stochastic.
Yes.
I feel more comfortable using that at the moment. Sometimes the stochastic throws me a little because I tend to look at it on the 1 hour, so I can get like a lot of a longer term view on which direction it should be going in.
Yeah.
And I tend to trade it or enter on the 15.
Yeah.
But I think then I'll also have a look at the 5 minute to see what's going on. But sometimes, obviously, the stochastic on the 5 minute can be quite different. But I think what can throw me a little bit is when you've got, let's say it's a sell, so it's been going down, but obviously when it gets to the bottom of these stochastic,
Yeah.
it can snake along, can't it, for quite a long time, and that can sometimes make me think, oh, I want to get in. I've got all the other indicators. I'm happy with everything else. I've looked at the EMA. I've looked at the AO. I've looked at thank you. I've looked at the volume of the candles. But then that stochastic sometimes snakes along, and I'm like, oh, does that mean it's going to actually? Is it going to reverse? Is it going to come up? But I mean, they can snake along there for ages, can't they? But still be a sell, or if it's the top, still be the other way around, still be a buy.
Yeah.
Am I making sense?
Yeah, no, you're making perfect sense, and I completely agree with you because that was one of the reasons that I didn't really get involved in the pound Australian dollar today.
Right.
In fact, I think it's probably more on the 15 minute. So yeah, I don't know if you can see Reese, because every time I go over the bit I want to look at, I'm going to have to move that across a bit. So when I was looking at it this morning, it would have been around here. And as we see, so the stochastic started moving up a bit, but not a huge amount, and then came down again. And then we had that movement up to about the middle, and I thought, well, I'm still not hugely happy with that, because I was really looking for sells, but actually everything kept pointing, certainly on the 15 minute, to okay, it's gonna be a buy, it's gonna be a buy, it's gonna be no, it's gonna sell again. But it wasn't really giving me a clear indication.
No.
And that's kind of why I stayed out of it, even though I kept looking at the hour and thinking, right, that's down at the bottom, that's what time was that? It was about 11 o'clock this morning. I thought, right, that's going to start pushing up at some point soon once we've got a response from the 15 minute. I was looking at the 5 minute, and okay, we'd have a big push up, but actually it's not really big push up at all. The price movement itself was not actually that much. But then I'm looking at the 4 hours and going, well, that's still pointing down. The daily's still right at the top.
Yeah. Okay, I'm glad it's not just me then, because I drive myself nuts sometimes.
But yeah, no, you can, but you can also have great days where this all plays into your hands beautifully.
Yeah. True.
So yeah, maybe today's just been a bit of a strange one. But certainly for me, I don't know about others. So
I had exactly the same experience as both of you today.
oh really?
I stayed out of some trades because of the stochastic, and obviously it went down, and I think there was like 240 or 50 pip moves that I could have got into.
Oh, that's so frustrating, isn't it, Adrian? You look back at the chart and you just go, oh.
But the stochastic didn't line up, so like Rob, I stayed out of it.
Yeah, no, it's the best way to do it.
Yeah, no,
but at least I didn't lose any pips. So.
Exactly, protect your account.
Well, that's the thing. You've just got to look at what's going on, and if things aren't lining up the way that you want them to, then you can still just say, actually, I'm going to just play it small, or play it sensibly, or cautiously, or not play it at all. And I was just looking at the 5 minutes on the pound US dollar, because I know you was talking about maybe getting in on the 5 minute time frame, or certainly looking at the 5 minute time frame.
Yeah.
but one of the strategies that I used to talk about a lot was just based on the trend line, and that was, if you just look at a trend line like that, you've had a break. I know Paul often says after a break you get a retest. That doesn't always happen. You don't always get the retest. Sometimes you can get the break of the trend line, and all I've done there is just on the 5 minute time frame, just taking wick. I've ignored that wick there on that candle there, because the majority of the price movement has been to the trend line. It's just that wick, it's just below. And then you can go, okay, that's broken that trend line now. Stochastics down there. I haven't got the MACD on here as well, because I used to talk about the MACD as well. And you say, right, okay, I'm on the 5 minute time frame. That's broken that trend line. I can go for 5 pips on that. And I know that there will be more than 5 pips. If we get from there, for example, what's that, 13, well, we're actually right down to the bottom there is nearly 18 pips. So you can actually trade the break of the trend line on the lower time frames. So if you get on the 15 minute, that trend line is still valid. If you were to draw a trend line from the top that way, if you're price breaking that area and pushing up, then okay, I've got room. And normally on the 15 minutes we'll go for 10 pips. And you're just literally working off the trend lines.
Thank you, Rob.
But you can actually, there's a sort of general overall on the 15 minute, but you can also take them down to a smaller scale. We say, okay, stochastics down at the bottom there on the 15 minute. We're looking like possibly, yeah, blue's just crossed over red. 5 minute is pushing up, so we could get a break of that trend line and maybe push up towards that upper trend line, and that might give us, get 5 pips out of that. Just little moves like that on the lower time frames. And if you get to go on the hour, you can say, oh, okay, we've got what we've got going on here. Bit of a trend going up like that. Okay, we've had price sort of break that trend line, and that gives me an indication that, yeah, things are starting to head down. Okay, we've got an even steeper trend line at that sort of area there, like that. Got the break, and that's why I end up with lines all over the place on my charts. But just to give you an example. Okay, I'm sorry, I've realised we haven't looked at many other charts.
No, it's all good, Rob. It's all really helpful.
I've just seen the chat, and there's someone who's listed as just iPhone says, watching Rob the linesman Huntley do his thing while Papa John's create their own masterpiece. Nice, thank you, iPhone.
I think that was Cola.
Cola, is it?
Did he mention about pizza?
Papa John's, yeah.
Yeah, he put something in. Was it in Discord? I think that's Cola, because he put Papa John's in.
Ah, gotcha.
Sounds like his kind of phrase, doesn't it?
Well, if Cola's on the session, he's normally more vocal than that.
Yeah, maybe he's on his iPhone though, so I guess maybe he's somewhere where he can't talk. Otherwise, he'd be ribbing you about your lines.
Blimey, do you know what? It's 8:23 already. I feel we haven't really talked through any charts at all. Well, that one. Well, yeah, I guess kind of have, but I don't know if I've really given any.
It's quality over quantity, Rob.
Yes, possibly. Possibly on this occasion, unlike normal.
No, I think Rob, you've been very helpful. obviously we can all look at the charts with the training and the NTS and everything, but to get these extra little insights, this is why I attend the calls, is to get kind of like your experience and perspective in other ways.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that, Adrian, because I know that I know when I first started doing not necessarily doing live sessions, but trading generally, I would probably lurk in the shadows a bit. And
ago was that, Rob? You started? Was it like 3 years ago or longer? Or
2017, I think it was. Yeah, October 2017.
okay, yeah.
So okay, that's well, yeah, blimey, October 2020 now. Yeah, so that is three years. And that's the thing. If you give this the time and the effort, that there is a learning curve, as we all know, but you get to a point where you can look at charts and you can pick out patterns, and Adrian, as you said today, you picked out an inverted head and shoulders on odd CAD. You start to pick out these things, and you start to pick out elements, and it's not just about marking the charts up. It's about the emotional side and the psychological side of having your head in the right space, and maybe knowing that you're not in the right place to be trading, because you're feeling a bit, maybe someone's upset you somewhere else in your life, and you're just not in the right frame of mind to be going and placing trades. And sometimes just knowing, actually, do you know what, I'm not going to look at it today because that's not the right thing to do.
Can't remember if it was Morel or Helen that said it earlier, but one thing I've been learning with since I've been involved with the Ninjas, which is only like a month, is the patience in the trades on a 15-minute chart.
Yeah.
Okay, you can get instant results within 15 minutes, half an hour, but then some other trades might take 3.5 hours, a day even.
Yeah.
And not to be emotional. I've closed out so many trades where, okay, I'll just take it a break even, and then the instant I do it, it goes for 80 pips.
Yeah. I had the same conversation, well, sorry, not the same, a similar conversation with somebody who asked to have a sort of quick one-to-one because they were just getting frustrated with their results. They were doing everything right, but they were just not holding on long enough. They were just closing it out once it, they'd maybe gone into some drawdown, and then once it gone into 3 to 4 pips profit, they would close it out because they wanted to make sure they took some profit rather than potentially going into drawdown again. And I completely get that. But their frustration was a similar thing. Once they closed it, it then moved further in the direction that they were hoping it was going to go. And that does happen a lot. Sometimes it is just a case of placing your trade, setting your stop loss and your take profit, and then sitting on your hands or walking away from it, just to give it that room to move. Because sometimes you'll get the price movement, you'll get the little jiggle up and down, not necessarily like a 35 pip channel, but certainly on lower time frames, you'll get sort of 5 pips here, and it might move to 8 pips drawdown, and then it'll move to 2 pips in profit, then it'll move to 5 pips drawdown, and all that sort of thing. You'll get those movements like that, and then it's just waiting for the right time to then go, right, that's it, now we're really motoring. And as you say, you close something at break even, or even just a handful of pips in profit, and then actually, if you just held on that few more moments or few more minutes, or however long it is, and then it's actually going for it. So yeah, no, I completely get it.
Particularly with the recently this week with the Euro USD.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to stop trading it, to be honest.
Okay. What have you been experiencing with the Euro USD?
Well, I was up 7 pips on a buy against the D,
Right.
and closed out at just over break even. So I've got like 1 pip or something.
Yeah.
And then I went with the D, and I was up 7 pips, and again I closed out at about 2 pips profit. I mean, it's all profit, but
Yeah.
it's just snaking, and I guess it's just that I find it difficult sometimes to know when to close the trade or to hold on to it, and I guess it's experience. But
Yeah. And there will be times as well. I mean, I know I keep getting mocked for the number of lines on my charts, but actually,
I'll back you up, Rob. I love lines. I love lines and triangles and everything. So.
super. Thanks, Adrian. You're my new BFF. But you'll start to see, you'll start to see where prices hit sort of this point here, for example, and you can see when you go along to the right how its price is then reacting to that same level, and you get to see, oh, okay, actually, it's done it there. It's come down to that point again there, and rather than just, oh, there's a big squiggly line of green and red candles, you start to see how it reacts to these levels, and then you looking left, and we say a number of times, well, looking left for the history. In fact, where's that? That's not quite. And this point here on the left here, if I were to draw another horizontal line around there, that's almost where that's hit over there. So there's a number of things that you and it won't take long to actually sit and mark up the charts and look at the points of interest, the levels that you can get price to react. You can't get price to react to it, but you can watch how price reacts to those certain levels. You think, oh, okay, so that level there has been a historical point back here. Obviously, there's been a big push up and it stopped there. Maybe price is going to go back up to that level again. And you don't have to really go hard at it. You can just place a small lot size, small position, or just watch it. Just know that you've marked that up and go, okay, actually that's heading right towards where I thought it might be. Oh, and here we go. There's a level I've marked up there. Oh, look, it's come down to it. Oh, look, it's come down again. It's bounced around that level. Oh, it's come down again. Oh, it's broken through. And then actually on the right side of it, it's pushed up and tested it again. Oh, these lines work.
I think that's why I like the pitchfork, because like it's so easy to apply. And I apply it on the scanner. I personally rarely do it in trading, mainly due to time, but I find it works so well on the scanner. And
Yeah.
And then you can add, sometimes I'll add the extra lines of resistance. So that reduces the stress for me, because I think then you're less likely. I'm just sort of trying to think of what Adrian's saying, because it was probably where I was quite a few months ago. You don't get so stressed about drawdown because you expect it to react off of certain lines. So I think, especially as a new person, the pitchfork is a fantastic tool. And then and then add a few lines of resistance in, support and resistance, which is quite easy to spot. You don't have to get into head and shoulders and stuff. I mean, I still get my knickers in a twist with head and shoulders, I think. Or you can even use that indicator, can't you, in TradingView? What's it called?
Oh, the auto support.
Yeah, so you could even use that, couldn't you, if you didn't want to draw your own lines in?
Yeah.
And I just think then you can see where price is sort of bouncing between, and if you do get a little bit of drawdown, you're not going to be so panicky about, oh, I need to close it at break even, if that makes sense.
Yeah, And there are times where I will get into a trade knowing full well that it's going to go into drawdown, just
Yeah.
because I know that.
It's at that particular level.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I know it's going to come back to that level, or yeah, I don't mind it going 10, 20 pips into drawdown, because I'm confident that where I've got in, it's going to come back to that level and then take me into profit.
Yeah. And I think I used to hate drawdown like most people do, but when you've got those levels on your chart, and because you've done a little bit of analysis, it's almost like when it does start to bounce around and you get a little bit of drawdown, it's up and down, up and down. For me, I actually find that reassuring.
Yeah.
Because I then go, right, I think it's how can I explain it? It's behaving in the way that I would expect it to, and then obviously this doesn't happen every time, but the majority of the time you'll then get the ninja down or the ninja up, and then it goes in the direction that you're expecting it. So I actually prefer a little bit of resistance rather than it just suddenly shooting one way or the other, because then even if you get into profit, it's not kind of playing the game as you was expecting. I hope I'm making sense here. I feel like I'm rambling.
Yeah, no, I think you are making, well, to me, you're making sense. I hope it's making sense to others as well. But obviously, from your situation, you've been doing this for a little while longer than some of the others on the call, and maybe others have been doing it longer, but haven't necessarily been, as active, because they've, I don't know, maybe they've been working and just been in and out of trading activities as and when they can.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think what you've just said is great, because everyone will go through it at some point.
Yeah.
And then once you start to realize and recognize how the price moves and getting these support and resistance levels, and as you've just said, you prefer using the pitchforks as well, that where you're getting the price react to those Fibonacci's on the way down to the median line, or maybe sometimes it won't actually ever make it to the median line.
Such a good tool, and I think people that are new, or like you say, maybe they've been dipping in and out trading. I think if you go back on the scanner and apply the pitchfork, you can go back and look at scans that have already, sort of almost expired, for want of a better word.
Yeah.
And you can then actually see how the price most of the time does bounce off those Fibonacci lines, and then that will give you confidence that what we are talking about is working. And I think that then gives you confidence to then use the pitchfork for your next trade.
Super. Love that, Morel. Thank you. And in fact, it was Cola who was iPhone earlier. He's jumped back on again, saying some real engaging chat tonight, Rob. Morel and everyone, should have been a podcast. He's back home now and continuing to listen. And yes, he was iPhone earlier. So there we go. Maybe I should. Well, no, I think I am recording this, so maybe I'll try and split out the audio and post it as a podcast somewhere. So thanks for that suggestion, Cola.
Have you had your dinner yet, Rob?
You know what? I've learnt my lesson from that time that David jumped on, and I've had my dinner before the session, so I'm all good. So happy to keep chatting if everyone wants to, or if well, I don't feel, as I've said, I don't feel we've done lots of chart talking tonight, but we've gone through some bits, and if you want to carry on, absolutely fine by me.
Yeah, no, I'm happy. I'm happy to keep chatting.
Happy to keep chatting. Well, give me 2 seconds. I'm just going to turn the temperature down a bit. I'm feeling a little warm.
Mate, I live in Tenerife. Turn your heating up.
Do you live in Tenerife, Adrian?
Yeah, I do.
Lovely. How long have you been there?
Almost 3.5 years or so.
Oh wow, good for you.
Yeah, it's beautiful, especially in the lockdown. Nobody's coming. So.
Yeah, I can imagine. None of those annoying tourists.
Don't want any foreigners, thank you.
I see.
I'm going to stop share for a moment because I've just realised that we're just looking at a chart and not really doing any movement. So, oh, wow, blimey, I didn't realise we had quite so many people on.
I like the poster in the back on your back wall. Is that an Avengers one?
It is. There's Marvel something like this is my son's room.
Yeah, because I say it looks like my son's room.
Yeah. Earlier today, my son's out at the moment. And earlier today, I jumped on his computer because my wife was in the middle of something else upstairs, and it was just not going to be that sensible to try and do any video stuff while she was being as noisy as she was. So I've just decided actually I'll come back down here again and do the session from here, and that way I don't have to have headphones on and I don't have to worry about noise and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm in my son's room, and you wouldn't believe it, he's 17, nearly 18, and he's still got.
Oh, bless you. But that looks like a cool poster. It looks very similar to the one that I got my son. I found this a couple of years ago. I found it in the charity shop, but it's quite a sort of iconic one. And yeah, I think they're cool. Really nice.
He's got the sort of pop art Incredible Hulk and Captain America and Spider-Man and all that sort of thing as well. So anyway, sorry, we digress. Oh, there's Cola, love the Avengers, good stuff. So it's still of value.
Exactly.
So anyone else got anything else I'd like to talk about or discuss or ask questions? I see Colin's on.
Rob.
Oh, Rod, hello.
Hello, buddy. Yeah, just I've got a question for you, a couple of questions, kind of. You know, like you've been showing that you've been stacking trades. Some of those big pip ones that you've done recently, where you've stacked trades.
Yeah.
What's your criteria for re-entering? Do you just go on a ninja up or a ninja down, or what's your thoughts behind that?
So my process normally is I'm expecting price to go up, and sometimes I don't get the entry spot on. So this is actually something that I went to a session with Barley Granville, one of the educators who looks after the index in fusion stuff, and I can't see a calculator to hand at the moment. But what normally happens if I've got into a trade, into a position, and it actually starts going into drawdown, not quite going the way that I was expecting it to go, then but I'm still confident that it is going to go that way. I wait for it to move, more often than not, wait for it to go to 5 pips in drawdown. Then I'll add another position. If it moves further, I'll then add another position. But if it starts going straight away into positive, I'll sort of go 5. Sometimes it's 5 or 10 pips, depending on the pair and how quickly it's moving. So I'll get into the trade and then stage 5 pip or 10 pip positions after that, and that's how I'm doing. So basically, I think the example that Barley gave was something like a 25 pip move, but if you then added another position every 5 pips along the way, you would end up with, what's that, 25 plus 20 plus 15 plus 10 plus 5. I think it works out something like 75 pips from that 25 pip move, and that's how I've been doing it basically.
Okay, no, that's good. And then the other thing was with some of the longer term trades, and with the craziness that occurs at 10 p.m. And I think this might have been mentioned earlier, but do you close out at 10 p.m. or what do? Do you remove a stop loss or?
Now that's a great question, because for me personally, if I'm in something that I'm actually happy to leave running, which isn't that often, I will tend to remove my stop loss at 10 p.m. Because if I've got a stop loss in place, sometimes the spreads that will kick in will take you out it might not actually, price in real life might not actually hit the stop loss, but because of the broker spread, they may close you out of that trade by hitting the stop loss according to their setup. So you could be looking at TradingView and go, oh, price hasn't hit my stop loss. Why has it closed me out? But it's just the broker spread, because it can just suddenly go so wacky. So personally, I would either take my stop loss off, and that's what I normally do, and then I wait till the markets settle down, which can take up to an hour, or sorry, not the markets, to the broker spread to settle down.
Mm-hmm.
And that could be, sat there till 11, maybe sort of after 11 at night, and then put my stop loss back on and then go to bed. Or I'll actually close out not at 10 o'clock, but just before 10 o'clock.
Yeah. No, that's
Because
fantastic.
No, that's right. Because the other thing is, if you try and close out at 10 o'clock, I don't think it even allows you to close your position. You're basically stuck with that.
Yeah, I think like 10-15 minutes beforehand is kind of when you want to do it.
Yeah. Great question though, Ross. Thank you.
Thank you, mate. No, good to have your insight. Like people have been saying, I think it's not just about looking at the charts. We've all been looked at the instructions and stuff. We can read the charts fine. It's the mental bit behind it. When do I enter? Do I enter? Should I enter? Shouldn't I enter? So these sessions are great.
No, I'm pleased. I hope it does help. And actually, sometimes looking at the whole process, what you've just said there about when do you enter, should you enter, and you sort of almost overthink it, and then by the time that you've made your decision, the move has been and gone, and you've missed your opportunity. Or sometimes you're actually over complicating or over analyzing everything. I know, as has been said many times before, looking at my charts, it can look at an absolute mess. I know what's going on in it, but actually for other people, it's a real challenge to see what's happening. But sometimes you can stop yourself from actually placing the trade because you're looking at that trend line, or that line on the pitchfork, or the stochastic, or all the vectors not quite crossing yet, and all these different elements that you're looking at can sometimes hold you back from diving into it. But then, of course, going the other way, you can dive in too soon and not be fully prepared, and that is not wise either. So just basically what I've been doing recently, in fact I don't think I really used an indicator much on my trading with the pound Australian dollar. I've literally just been looking at the levels, so those lines that I've got for support and resistance, so of the channel, and looking at the stochastic on the 5, 15 and hour time frames.
No, that's brilliant. Thank you, mate.
No problem. Anyone else got anything they'd like to ask or quiz me on, or
I just closed my trades, Rob.
You closed your trade?
Yeah, I closed them because it's coming up 9 o'clock, and I've done my daily profits. I thought I'm not going to be greedy, and just closed them.
Nice. As long as you've hit your daily target, then I know that's. I've had a conversation with people about when we look at raining pips, and you see the number of pips that people are posting in there, and I sometimes feel maybe I shouldn't post silly numbers in there, because it can seem like, so and so's done 100 and something pips on that trade, and so's done 50 pips on that trade, and I've only got 10 or whatever. This is an individual and personal journey, so whatever you're happy and comfortable with is all that you need to do. You do not need to compare yourself to anyone else's results, to any other way that other people are trading, because they may be looking at things slightly differently. Like as Raj was just asking about my stacking of trades. That is something I've I do. I don't do it all the time. I do it when I feel it's right to do it. And that is the only reason. Actually, I'm only getting a 10 pip move, but because I've got, okay, I've exaggerated a bit there. It might be a smaller actual move, but because I've got stacked trades in there, stacked positions, it's just ended up with a lot more pips. So I know there's a lot of people who will look at the shiny object syndrome and, you know, going, oh wow, they're doing really well on that trade. Let's go and see. Sorry, on that strategy. Let's go and see what they're doing. And you lose focus on what you're doing, and things don't go as well. And that is key to just sticking to what is working well for you. But getting an understanding of what else is out there, because there might be something that is more suited to your trading style, the time that you have available, and also just, you know, if you don't explore and broaden your horizons, you're not going to find something that might be the absolute ideal match for you. And there might be a way that someone else is trading, or a strategy that they're using, that is going to make other things that you're maybe already looking at but not quite grasping fully, making it all click for you.
Yeah, exactly. And it comes with experience, doesn't it? You, like you said, if you're quite new, and I made that mistake as well, splitting from one strategy to another, it just confuses you, knocks your confidence, probably not, you lose money on your account as well. As you become more confident at reading charts, I think you're able to dip into other strategies. I mean, I've switched strategies sort of to suit my lifestyle, really. But, you know, I think when we see you posting, and obviously some of the others posting, you know, lots of pips, I think it's, you know, it's inspiring, and also it means that obviously as we gain more experience, at some point, you know, I look at it that, okay, one day I will probably get a day where I get 200 pips, but I'm not expecting to get it now. So I don't think that you shouldn't put your results in. I don't think that would be wrong. You know, we're being transparent here, aren't we? We put our losses in as well, and it's not like you're not doing. If you were doing 200 pips every day, then obviously you would be sharing that with us as well, because you would have obviously improved one of your strategies, and you'd be teaching it to us, wouldn't you, Rob?
Yes, I wouldn't be selfish and keep it all to myself. But no, yeah, no, of course I would. And that's the thing that I would. I think somebody commented on one of my posts yesterday saying I think the phrase was, I was killing it, he was being killed. And I just replied saying, look, honestly, if you need some help, let me know, because I would rather, if there's anything that I can do to help, I would rather be of assistance than you to struggle on your own silently. So, you know, just let me know. And again, I think that's the way that the majority of us are in this group, that we're happy to help, because there is no reason not to help. I know some people might get a bit frustrated, or because it's not clicking for them, but you know, we're all going through the same process of, there's the scan, there's the pitchfork, there's the ninjacator. We're basically looking, that's the general direction that we're expecting price to move in, and that's all we're doing. Certainly for the live sessions, that's what we're focusing on. But if something isn't clicking in your head for whatever reason, then these sessions are great for asking those questions, and to try and get clarification, or try and look at examples of why that's not clicking in your head, or what else you need to understand. I mean, Colin, I hope you don't mind me mentioning you were on Paul's session this morning, and I think they were going through the what was it, the Forex calculator thing, where we were talking through the stop loss. setting stop. There you go, Colin. You've unmuted.
Yeah, I was there, Rob. Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah. And that was all just clicking into place. And suddenly go, oh my word, I've been doing that not the right way. I didn't want to say I've been doing it wrongly, but so I've
Well,
not
I had, hadn't I? You know.
Sadly, Colin, yes, you had.
I was doing, well, as I saw it, the opposite to what I should have been doing.
Yes. Yeah, pretty much.
And I suppose I thought about asking it before, like, but I thought, no, you know, it can't be that. And then when was it Andy Booth?
Yeah.
He asked the question. I thought, shit, that's what I've been wondering all along, you know.
Yeah.
And then the penny dropped, and you know, so that's solved that little mystery.
But it's not just you. There will be other people who.
But you always, I know it's not Rob, but you always think it is just you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You've been there. You must have been. We all have. You know.
Well, as I said earlier, when I first started this three years ago, I would attend Brian Knight's Q&A sessions on a Monday evening, and I would just lurk in the shadows. I would just listen to what was going on, because I was not comfortable stepping forward and asking a question, because everyone seemed to know each other and everyone seemed to you know, loads of people giving answers, not just Brian, and it just felt like, oh no, I'm going to be the silly kid in the corner who doesn't quite get it, and I feel a bit embarrassed about asking. But actually, those sessions are great to actually ask a question and get the answer that you well, not necessarily get the answer, but get clarification, get support, get guidance on how you should do it.
If you don't ask, nobody's going to know that you don't know, are they?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And like Paul says, you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah, exactly. And I think you don't need to feel ashamed or embarrassed or foolish by asking the question, because the whole point of these sessions is to help you. And yeah, okay, you might think that you're doing things a certain way and that you're doing it correctly. But actually, if there's anything that you're not sure about, or if things aren't quite going your way with regards to trading, ask for help. Reach out, and people, you know, I've obviously jumped on Zoom sessions with you, Colin, and helped you with bits and pieces over.
Yeah, you have appreciated that as well.
And again, that's not to say, oh, aren't I brilliant? But it's just a case of, I know the answer, and I can help you. I can help show you what to do for next time, rather than you struggle on, because I know you mentioned it on a live session, and then it went on to, I can't remember, someone else was trying to help you, and I just said, look, let's just jump on a Zoom call and I'll show you what you need to do. And I enjoy helping people. And
Colin's a good example of sticking to a strategy, because he always you always do 25 to life, don't you, Colin?
Yeah, well, that's a bit now, Morel. I've sort of moved on to the NTS.
Okay,
you know?
That's good.
I wasn't getting the results that I had been getting with 25 to life.
Okay.
And then the ninja trading system came along, you know, and I had a bit of a dabble with that. And I find, although it hasn't been going as well as I'd like it to recently, you know, I am finding it better, if that's the right word, better for me, put it that way. You know, everything I do now, I put a pitchfork on it.
Yeah, right. I love a pitchfork.
Well, that's the thing, that the pitchfork is there to give you, well, I think Paul refers to it as the field of play. It's giving you an idea of where price can move about in between, but our end goal is to hit the median. It won't obviously always hit the median line, but you should indeed be able to capture a good number of pips on that journey towards it.
Rob, can I just say, I think one of the main benefits of the Ninja Trading group is that it is a group, and you guys that do the live trading are obviously key to it, but everybody that attends the calls, that are asking the questions, everybody's learning together. And I think, like, working from home, no matter what you do, is very lonely,
Oh yeah.
and trading can be lonely. You know, I've tried it in the past on my own, and you want to reach out and ask somebody, and you get a one-word answer, or you know, I think the value that the Ninja Trading Group gives is these calls where we all talk with each other and we all ask the questions that we're afraid to ask, or somebody else asks the question we're afraid to ask. And I think, honestly, for me, that's key. You know, we can read the documents, we can go through the units in the Facebook group and everything, and have the strategy down. And then obviously the markets have their own idea of what they're going to do. But to be able to discuss it makes the difference, I think, for me.
Yeah, no, I'm inclined to agree with you, Adrian. I think you know, the way that we've got everything set up, and I know Paul, bless him, with his sense of humour and the jokes that he adds into the sessions as well. Try, you know, make it light-hearted, but at the same time, you know, you should be learning how we're looking at charts and how to place your pitchfork on, and how to place your fibs, and what sort of area you're looking for to take your profit, and all of that sort of thing. So I think, yeah, I think you're right. What we've got is a great group of people, but it's also not just us holding these sessions, it's the interaction. And I sometimes feel that when I'm doing the live trading sessions, that I'm maybe talking too much at people rather than giving people an opportunity to ask questions. Or I know Paul does in his sessions, he will say, you know, what, I can't think of an example, but he will ask a question rather than just talk you through everything, and get interaction from people. And that is the best way to pick up these great tips, and you know, looking at the stochastic and looking at the Fibonacci on the pitchfork and all of that sort of thing. So would you get into that trade now? And if not, why not? And all that sort of thing.
No, yeah, Rob, it's all good for me. I'll be attending more. Sometimes in the mornings I have to get on the Facebook because I have to drop my wife off at college or whatever. But so I'm not as active at 8:30 a.m. as I am now. But
Not a problem, as long as you know as well that you can still post your you know, if there's anything chart wise, or got a question, that you can still use the Discord channel as well as the Facebook group. You know, if you happen to be listening to the live session on Facebook but can't actually vocally ask a question there and then.
obviously, earlier, Rob, I sent you my chart markup. Where do I send that in Discord if it's not to yourself personally?
Yes, you can put that in. Let me see. Sorry, give me a second. I just need to see where, because there'll be different.
You've got the ask a question.
Yes, and there's trade surgery as well. So on the trade, oh, I'll tell you what. I'll share screen and then just show you.
I've never used trade surgery. I think I've missed that.
Trade surgery, this section here. So yeah, you can post like Kevin has done here. That I think, well, that was back in September, and that was just a question on setting up fast start fibs. They are the same setting, but different between TradingView and Harmonic Scanner, and that's because on TradingView he had Heikin-Ashi candles, and on the Harmonic Scanner he had ordinary candles, and I think he's on different time frames. Well, he's on the hour on there, and so it's just things like that that you can post your charts. Yeah, you post your charts and post a question. Well, I'll probably ask a question, probably best for the asking a question part. But trade surgery is more probably for trades that you have been in, but it hasn't gone the way that you thought it was going to, and why, what went wrong, that sort of thing. So whilst there's the trade ideas and the crypto trades and the smart money trades and ninja trading system, which I don't think is actually really being used that much at the moment, because everything's really going in the trade ideas watch list. You can ask questions in there, plus you can also add post that sort of stuff in the Facebook group as well, and people respond to that as well.
Okay, cool. I was watching for the first time today. I watched what's it called, the Fire
Starter.
Fire Starter.
Yeah.
I watched the unit with John and Andy, and from there, I've actually made 21 pips tonight, because they did the markup and the fib levels and everything, and they hit take profit 1, and there was a retracement, and then I entered to go down to profit 2, but obviously now I just closed it out about 5 minutes ago for 21 pips. But that wasn't using an indicator or anything like that. I was just following what they said. Obviously, I wasn't entering the fire starter level on the D point at that point. They'd already hit take profit 1.
Yeah.
But I realised that from that call, most of the time they get to take profit 2, which is almost a median.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the things that I know Kevin was saying as well. For when you're marking up your charts for that, you're putting your scan onto TradingView, you're putting the pitchfork on, but also if you put the fibs on for the fire starter, and you can you don't necessarily, because I think what we were doing initially was setting a pending order. So if the D's at the top, you'd be setting a sell limit, or if the D's at the bottom, you'd be setting a buy limit. Which might be more appropriate for those who are off to work and can't sort of manage the trade themselves, or aren't looking at the chart to be able to see the ninjacator alert or anything like that. But what Kevin was saying, that you're sort of looking in that area then for either the ninja down or the ninja up, around that sort of level of the fire starter fibs, because sometimes you'll the price might move up to that area but not actually hit the entry line, the entry point for the sell limit or the buy limit, or it might go a little bit beyond that. It might hit the entry, get you into the trade, and then go into drawdown. Whereas if you're just waiting for the ninja alert, it tends to be around that area, and therefore you're not, I can't say you're not guaranteed to not have any drawdown, but more often than not, you'll get the ninja down, and it will be a good move down. So yeah, the fire starter is a great strategy. I think one of the guys who was doing the bankers strategy said that actually the fibs that are used on the fire starter are very similar, will end up in a similar position to the smart money / bankers strategy fib settings as well. So actually you're combining almost two into one, but it's more like, for the bankers, you can see that there's imbalance, and I won't go through imbalance and all that sort of thing right now, but you can see areas that are areas of interest where there's been imbalance, or you can set the fibs for, there's the banker's candle at that point there, set the fibs to another level down there, and then once the fib markups are coming, you've got these two lines that are created, which causes a kind of zone. So you're looking again for, okay, price is getting to that area. We're not setting a pending order for that price. We're just looking for the ninja down or ninja up, depending which way it's going, around that area. So actually the ninjacator is still really helpful when it comes to trading fire starter and banker strategy and all that sort of thing as well. Anyone else with anything else to say, or should we?
Rob?
Sorry, Morel.
Are you doing a live session tomorrow morning?
I am. I'll be on again at 8:30 in the morning, and I'll be in here. Posters and everything, and teddy bears,
I can see the teddy in the corner.
and smiley faces.
I was going to say I expect a mask, but that'll do.
Hey, Rob, it's Jason.
Hey,
here.
Jason.
Bravo. Wonderful session.
Super. I'm glad you
But
liked
I
it.
want to ask you, your daylight savings time, is
Yeah.
that the 28th? There's some time when you're an hour closer to me.
Yeah, I think it's this weekend coming, so that'll be Sunday morning. I think it changes.
Or the 25th.
Forgotten that. Is it this Sunday?
Yeah, I'm fairly sure it's this Sunday.
Sunday morning at 2 a.m.
Sunday.
Yeah,
There we
two.
go. Thanks, Pop.
Thank you. Put that in my diary now.
So I think we're November 1st. So
Oh, right. Okay.
yeah, so you do your morning session at it's 8 a.m. or 8:30?
8:30. It used to be 8 a.m., but now it's 8:30.
Okay, so for a week, I may be able to join at 4:30 a.m. my time, and instead of, well, no, 8:30 minus 4 until we. Usually it's 3:30 a.m. my time, right? If you're going at 8:30. So now, if you fall back, is that how it would work? You'd fall back an hour?
Yes. Yeah, clocks go back, so that will make it 2:30 for you then, wouldn't it? No,
You
won't
go
it?
back.
I think it's only a 4-hour time gap for a week.
Yeah, it'd
4
be 4 hours instead of 5 hours.
Right. Gotcha.
All right, maybe I can try and work it out to get on.
Yeah, I'll see if I can find whatever the time zone bits are for you and send you a message with them. But I'm sure, yeah, as Helen just said, it's 4 hour difference.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
But this is very valuable.
Oh, I'm pleased because this wasn't this really wasn't the plan.
It's never the plan. It's
No,
never the plan.
It isn't, and it just evolved into, hey, let's just talk stuff rather than just look at the charts and talk through strategies and where we're going to win and all that sort of thing. So yeah, no, it's been an enjoyable session. I've enjoyed it, and I hope it's been of help to everyone.
I think it's a combination of talking shop too, and just kind of, because we're all like isolated and we're just in front of the screen, and it helps to kind of go through with other people.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think Adrian mentioned that earlier. Sometimes it's good to sort of bounce things off other people and just feel comfortable talking about it rather than being talked at for however long. As I tend to feel I'm doing on my sessions, I feel like I'm just talking at everyone, at the audience. So it's been good to have a good open chat.
I bet we will have a really good trading day tomorrow. Now that we've had this chat, don't you think?
Sorry, what trading day?
Tomorrow we'll all have a really good trading day because we're all in the right mindset. We've had a good chat. I reckon tomorrow morning will be a good trading session. Let's see if I'm right.
No pressure. Thanks, Burrell.
Rob, I don't think you should feel like you're talking at people. I think you're just voicing what you're thinking. So, none of us attend the calls to be talked at to. We're there to learn, and you're going through your thought process. I know people take the mickey for all your lines and stuff, but at the end of the day, you put them on there for a reason. You know what I mean? So
yeah. No, thanks, Adrian. That's appreciated. Because I know people mock me, and I've got broad shoulders and can take the mocking. I was in an unfortunate position that the computer I was on, I think it was on Paul's session this morning, where they were mocking me and my mic wasn't working and I just couldn't fight back. So I was having to respond by the chat box, which was rubbish.
That was funny.
Rob, sorry, you've made me interrupt my pizza. The thought of you trying to respond to what was being said about you this morning, unbelievable. Unbelievable.
No, it was good fun. I hope it's only banter rather than that. No, I know it's only banter. But thank you for interrupting your pizza sorry, thank you for taking a break in your pizza. I'm sorry for interrupting.
Nonsense. Listen, I can only reiterate what everyone said. Yeah, it's it's not just about the trading. Sometimes you just need the assurance that even when you're doing the wrong thing, that you're going about it the right way and stuff. And look, you guys won't know it, but I talk about Forex to most of my friends and who've dabbled in it before and stuff. But the key difference they've always said is it's all right for you. You're getting the right kind of support. And there's a strong element of truth to that. I am getting the right support, but I'm also in the right place at the right time, thanks to you guys. So again, just like people said, don't think you're ever talking at people. Some of us, believe it or not, sometimes I'm afraid to sort of. I'll rather sit back in the shadows and let people ask the questions, be they on the baby boomer session or on Kevin's session, Paul's, or your own, even Helen's one. So we're all chipping in and stuff, and it's a great journey. I feel privileged. I don't know about everyone else, but I'm just happy to. I was just popping out for pizza. I switched on my phone and stuff, and I just happened to look on something on Facebook, and you came across. I'm thinking, I don't remember him sort of like, and all of a sudden on my journey to Papa John's, I was just listening, and it was just things. It just made sense. That's all.
Oh, that's fab. No, thanks, Cola, because I remember your sort of first sessions. Not necessarily the first one, but the first one that I started hearing you interacting with the sessions and asking questions, and it just, when you've got one of those voices and personalities that you go, do you know what, this guy's gonna do well, because he's not sitting in the shadows, he's not lurking, he's out front asking questions, getting clarification on stuff, and yeah, I think you've certainly made your mark in the group already, Cola. So well done.
Well, thank you for saying so. I haven't made my first million yet, but you'll know when I do. That's a promise, kind of thing. But no, please, I insist. We all do. Please keep up the good work. This is a journey for all of us, and you're making it more interesting. You're adding those gems of information, which we all are, in truth. The show's got to go on. I insist.
Great. Well, no, do you know what? I have really enjoyed tonight's session, because it has, as I say, just evolved into an open chat, and actually, I think. I forget to sort of look at Facebook and see how many people are watching or commenting on Facebook, as well as us that are actually live on the Zoom. And I've actually just seen that there's, people have been asking questions on the post, but because obviously I'm focused on our live session here, there's other people who've been responding to those questions in the comments as well. So it's all really good. It's all I'd say I've been here for 3 years and have really found my home here. It's a great bunch of people. I've met some of them face to face, and others obviously have just been during these sessions online. But when you get to connect with people, and you're really a good bunch of people, and it's just a good place to be.
Keep up the good work.
Thank you. Right, it's 9:20 in the evening, UK time, and I don't want your pizza getting cold, Cola. So
Listen, you get yourself to bed. I need you bright and fresh for the morning.
Yeah, I think I will, Chub. I think I will. No, I'm gonna. If it's all right with you guys, I'm gonna wrap it up there now. And I've had a great time, and I really appreciate everyone's input and comments and just questions and talking through stuff. It's been a good session. So thank you all. I hope it was of help. And
You can't go, Rob. We're not letting you go. We're not letting you go.
No. I have no.
No, Rob, grab a beer. We're here till the morning. Come on.
If only I haven't got a beer in the house, so I can't even do that. So yeah.
Bloody northern lightweight.
We'll get one to you, Rob. Don't worry.
Right, my lovely.
Mate. Come on.
Sorry, Adrian, say it again. I didn't catch it, Adrian. Say it again.
So, Uber Eats, mate. They'll deliver anything. Create a Stella, we'll be there.
Right, super stuff. Well, I don't think I've laughed this much for quite a while, so well done, everyone. That's really helped.
Good call, folks. Thanks, Rob.
Yeah, no, super
Cheers,
stuff.
Rob.
Thank you all. And
Fantastic session, Rob.
yeah, good. I hope it was helpful, and I appreciate there's not been as much chart action, but let's do that tomorrow morning.
Right.
Have a great evening, everyone.
Cheers, mate.
Thanks.
Cheers,
Have a
Rob.
good one.
Okay.
Have a good night, everyone.
Good night.
Adios.
Good night, folks.
Adios.